Good evening, YouTube family, and welcome to the channel. Today, I felt like it was time for a recap or sort of a checkpoint on where we are in the Wall of Fame here. There's been a lot going on this summer with car transactions and car activities that I felt like let's pause for a second and bring everybody up to speed on a fleet update. Now, just by way of background, the main reason I had the idea for this video is because today, this afternoon, in fact, I took a deposit to sell the Acura TL Type S 2007. Now, most of you are going to be totally scratching your heads about this. I've only had this car for about 5 months. If you remember back in April when I picked it up, it was kind of an impulse buy at the first place. I had just recently sold my 2021 TLX Type S, so in a sense I kind of had car money burning a hole in my pocket, and any collector knows that's the most dangerous thing to keep you from making a purchase. So within, I think, about a month's time, I had already picked up this TL as well as the yellow 2004 S2000 that's currently down at the Acura dealership. That one's not going anywhere for a while. So with that being said, let's kind of recap what's still around, what's left of fleet, and maybe what's on the horizon for the next year or so. Now, I don't want to give away too many details because those of you who follow my Instagram know that I publish this every year on December 31st. I summarize what's been going on in my collection with acquisitions and sales and mileage cost summary. So here's a sneak preview. You can freeze frame it if you want. There's really nothing proprietary here, but it will give you a glimpse into what's been going on. So let's talk a little bit about the cars that have left the collection in 2022. The 1990 Legend LS Coupe 5-speed went to a collector in Denver. Super cool guy with a very awesome fleet of all white golden era Hondas. Just recently, the 89 Integra drove 1,900 miles, hi Eric, all the way to Lexington, Kentucky to an Acura collector there who already has a CL and an RL. So that car couldn't have gone to a better home. The 88 Legend LS, thank you to Matt, was, a long story short, a car that was given to me by a devout follower and subscriber, and I put it through a light restoration, and that car is also departing next Tuesday, headed to a collector, hey Brian, in Tennessee. So Brian is going to be an awesome home for that. He had been searching specifically for that combination and will be the perfect person to take it over. The 82 Prelude was never a car that I specifically sought after, although my mechanic, who you see pictured here, kind of wanted me to have it for the sake of finding it a home. So I basically took it on as an adoption or a foster care of sorts until I could find someone who wanted to buy it. And so I auctioned that car and it went to a great guy in Dallas area. Hi, David. Obviously, this car was fairly short-lived. I put about 10,000 miles on my TLX before selling it. A lot of reasons kind of were in the works there in terms of the rationale. I talked about that in another video, but it was kind of liberating to just free myself from, you know, a car that was 60,000 bucks more or less. I just was kind of reprioritizing at the time and kind of envisioning where I wanted the collection to go over the next couple years, and decided this wasn't a long-term fit for me. So that went to a new home as well. And last but not least, the 2007 TL, and keep in mind that was my second third-gen TL. The other one was a Kinetic Blue that I had in 2017. This car is also staying local. On Friday it's going to a super cool guy who in his prior ownership has had an Integra and really wanted to get back to some great manual trans Acura Honda driving experience. So one of the things that I like to keep in mind with all this is just, this is a hobby for me. I don't really get into this for the sake of being a car dealer, and I'm kind of at that point now where it's almost too much of a burden to go through cars at this rapid pace, because I take a little bit of pride in every vehicle that passes through my garage. And so for me to prepare something for sale so that it's up to my standards takes a lot of effort, and not something that I am equipped to do, you know, with the resources that I have here at home. The other thing too is this year was really crazy in the sense that at one point in time I had 13 cars actively registered and insured, and that just kind of feels overwhelming, even to a car collector, let alone a normal person. It was wasteful. It was kind of doing a disservice to the cars as well, because I have no capability of driving that many cars to keep them exercise, and it just felt like it didn't really make sense. So back in, I don't know, probably over the last 6 or 8 weeks, I really started thinking about what needed to go, what needed to stay, and give myself a little bit more direction on where I see things going. The cars that you see in the garage today won't be going anywhere. The Legend Coupe, in fact, is headed to Wichita, Kansas in about a week and a half. This car is going to the National Acura Legend Meet, going to be putting 2,000 miles on it. Currently, it's at 581,500, and I'm super excited to stretch its legs. This car hasn't been able to really be on a long distance road trip for a little bit of time now, so it'll be great to get out on the open road with it. The sedan also, I think if I had to pare the collection down really to just a couple cars, these two wouldn't go anywhere. This is one of my other pride and joys. The '89 Prelude is also sticking around. This car is nostalgic for me because it was my high school car, or a direct copy of it. In fact, it's so nostalgic that I even hung up my graduating class of 2000 tassel from my cap and gown. The 92 GSR is sticking around. This car, as I mentioned in the previous video, is going to be famous on CNBC here very soon, so that's got to stick around in the collection. And then my NSX. So many of you have heard of the NSX Club of America, or NSXCA. That organization is hosting a huge NSX meet here in the Phoenix Valley in October. So we've sold out the event at 120 cars and about 250 people. We have a multi-day event planned, and it'll be awesome to drive this car around with the company of a lot of other NSX enthusiasts. That thing has about almost 120,000 miles on it now, I believe. Banished to the backyard. I'll give you one guess what this is. Unfortunately, it had to go when it was time to decide what stayed in the garage and what needed to be pushed out. So this is the 1996 Acura SLX, which I'm not selling it because it's a little bit too handy to have around the house. I just hauled TL wheels and tires in it a couple of weeks ago, and it is always eager to report for duty when I need to haul car parts or hardware or anything like that. So my 96 SLX is not going anywhere. Another car that I have no intention of parting ways with is the S2000. I haven't yet really put that thing through its paces, but I have a really fun trip planned coming up with my friend Jason from New Mexico. We're going to go on a Route 66 tour in October, and I can't wait to take that S2000 through northern Arizona with the top down. And obviously that car is not here today because it's sitting at the dealership. And side note of gratitude, I really do appreciate them letting me stash a couple cars in their showroom, just because it gets them out of my hair, and also allows for a little bit of conversation among their customers. Last but not least, in our suboptimal outside nightlight here is the ILX. Again, this is a 2013 with almost 240,000 miles. That's my daily driver, and it never skips a beat, so that thing is not going anywhere in the near future. How could I forget? I almost forgot one until I saw this sitting over here. You can take one guess what this is destined for. The green 95 Legend Coupe restoration project is currently getting a new dash installed. It has one seat installed, the driver's seat. This is the passenger side, and a collection of other parts that are just kind of pending. I'm not going to give too much away right now because I will have a more in-depth video on the next chapter for that car. But look how awesome that seat turned out. It's going to give you one glimpse to how nicely the overall end result will look. That's my 95 Legend Sherwood Green. So did I cover them all? I think I did. This is descending by mileage. So we had 3 Legends, 2 94s, the Coupe and Sedan Desert Mist, and the 95 Sherwood Green. This Integra GSR, the ILX, the Prelude, the Legend, the SLX, the NSX, and the S2000. So 9 cars. That's a good number for me. I don't like being in double-digit mode, at least for very long. It makes me a little uneasy. So Anyway, thanks for being along for the ride. It's super fun to share this hobby slash obsession with other people who not only appreciate it, but encourage it. So I have you to thank or blame for this, but hope everybody is having a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.